welcome to Illinois and Garden Zone 5. I'm so glad you're with me today. It is almost mid-July already. Can you believe it? It just goes by so fast. So we are going to do the July back garden tour. I also want to take you up front because I have not showed you the mailbox garden area at all this year. I'll also give you an update on the front urns and show you what they're looking like now in July. And we planted a new tree up front and I'll show you that. Now, I was out at my mom's house last week and took some video for you, and I want to show you some of her garden and the critter pressure that she deals with, because we all deal with critter pressure in our flower gardens. And speaking of critter pressure, thank you for all of you that commented on last week's video for our son Isaac, who is experiencing deer on his new landscape that we just did. He had deer eat his hydrangea blooms of the hydrangeas that we planted. So overall, the comments, so many of you commented that liquid fence is the way to go for deer pressure. So if you have deer, you may want to try that. A lot of you said that really works for you. So that was one thing I wanted to pass on. Another thing I wanted to share in the comments, I've had some questions and I will answer those. I see a lot about the arborvitaes and wanting to know what kind of arborvitaes we have. Those are emerald green arborvitaes. They get about 15 foot tall, about 4 foot wide, and all of our emerald greens were purchased at Lowe's, but we did do them in 2 batches because our yard used to have a big maple tree in it that was damaged and had to be taken out. So then we put more arborvitaes in. So that's why we have 2 different sizes going on, but they're all the same variety. So those are emerald green. Another thing I've seen is about the fountain, asking where the fountain was purchased, if it's available. It is available, and if you go to under the video to more and click on more, the description box will open up. And in there is a link to the stuff in my backyard. I put products I use in my backyard. And if it's available, I have a link there. And at the last time I checked, this was still available, my fountain. So there is links down there for the things in my backyard. I do get questions about the statuary. The statuary, some of it's new, some of it's thrifted, but when I say new I purchased at the store, but new as being probably 3, 4, 5 years old, so no longer available. And if I purchase something that is available, like I said, I will put links to it in the description box so that you can also shop it. What else do we want to talk about? We want to talk about the back garden. We want to go to my mom's. I want to show you the things that I've thrifted since we've talked and added to the garden. Also show you a few projects that are going on that aren't complete but are in the conception idea and we'll be working on over the next week or 2. Oh, and one quick other thing. I'm filming from a different area in the garden. We are in the cut flower garden and we started this out here because I wanted you to see I've created a secret pathway that I didn't even realize when we put it in how it would turn out, but I am loving the look of having the hydrangeas, and we picked up some stepping stones. I may add more stepping stones. I may not even use the stepping stones. I put them down just to try them out and see what I thought. But I like how it kind of peeks around and it just gives that, remember when we talk about design elements in your garden and how you want to pull the person in, that they want to look and see more? Well, this is doing that. You can see a little bit, but you can't see all of it. So this is a nice way to pull a person in if they're out walking through the cut flower garden. Just a different entryway, but I'm liking how it looks. I think it turned out really good. So let's get going. Okay, we're at my mom's house at the farm, and you can see that she loves flowers too. So this is a huge long line along their horse pasture that's behind their house. And over time, she has planted up the entire length of the fencing of the horse pastures. She does a lot of repeats A lot of dividing as plants get bigger. So we have some tick seed here, daylilies, phlox. She's got mums that'll be coming here shortly. And then she just mixes in stuff. We've got some milkweed that she's left for the butterflies, some cosmos. But she has flower gardens all over her property. But this is just the longest stretch. And she does all this with hand watering. She weeds it all herself to keep up on the weeds. My sister does help her out in the garden sometimes when she's visiting, but Mom does a lot of it on her own. Mom added this one to her garden, and that's a wee bit grumpy is the name of that hydrangea from Proven Winners. It's got really pretty pink blooms on it. She has a lot of peonies, which are done blooming. We've got corabelles and black-eyed Susans. So we get down to the end of the pasture here, and then she ends up wrapping it around and continuing on. And this is the view out Mom's kitchen window dining room area. As you can see behind, it's pasture. There is some cows. They're down in the tree area right now because it's so warm out, but there are cows that come out, and then there's, like I mentioned, her horse, and then behind that is a cornfield this year, and that switches out to corn and beans. And so my parents' farm is 100 acres. Okay, and this is the corner of their yard that faces the road that Mom has turned into a huge flower garden. So she has all different kinds of perennials in the garden, and then she puts pops of color in with her supertunias. And she tries to do all season interest. So she'll put different things in for spring that flower, and then into summer. And then she has other flowers in here that'll take over more later in summer into early fall. And from the back side of this corner garden area, you can see Mom's coneflower, black-eyed Susan, phlox, daylilies, liatris, a lot of sedum, moonbeam, little yellow flowers, some daisies, more daylilies. Okay, and everybody has their issues. Mom had to go out there and go after the cows. The cows came up to the fence and were leaning over, eating the flowers. So she told them to get, and had her mop and was shaking it. And so they moved back into the grass, but we have to keep an eye on them and see if they come back and eat the flowers again. Okay, before we move into the back garden, I wanted to show you a couple things in the cut flower garden. So I had questions about this. This is Oxford Blue Salvia that I grew from seed, and I purchased the seed online at Johnny's over the winter time. So I started it out and then transplanted it out here in the spring. It makes a really nice plant even if you don't do cut flowers. The pollinators love it, and the reason I like it, of course, is for cut flowers. And it does look nice out here. But look at the leaflet on it. It's different than a normal salvia. This is normal salvia. And then we have this. So if you're looking for something a little bit different and you want to try out something new, I would try out this Oxford Blue Salvia. Now let me show you one of the projects I'm talking about that's underway but not complete. So when I was thrifting, I found these table legs thrifting. And there's 4 of them, and they're wood, and they've been painted white. And I picked them up for $2 a piece. So what I thought was, wouldn't it look nice on the shed here? And this isn't the garden house. This is our shed where we store our actual equipment and stuff. To put a potting bench, use the table legs, run along tabletop down the side of the shed, and then have some sort of potting bench, and then put little pots on it and just add some color there, and also reuse those table legs. Now when I bought those table legs, I had no idea what I was going to use them for, but for $2 I liked the style of them, and I figured I could come up with something. So when my husband and I were talking about it, I asked him, I said, could I do something like that? So we are working on figuring that out and creating that. So more to come. So stay tuned. We'll have to see how that looks here in the cut flower garden. Okay, so let's go to the back garden, but first let's stop at the Quick Fire Fab hydrangeas. They are looking beautiful. There's 3 of them. They're in different phases of color. They get 6 to 8 foot tall and wide. And these are from Proven Winners, and they're panicle hydrangeas. But look at some of that color. Isn't that gorgeous? I think it'll make a real pretty statement here as we're walking through. Okay, so the roses are starting again. Those sitting pretty roses are, oh, they smell so wonderful. Those were from Home Depot, and I purchased 2 of them from Home Depot, and you can also get it online at High Country Rose. I got one at High Country Rose. I passed up the newest addition to the garden. Look what I found thrifting. Okay guys, I like this mirror too. Look at the detail on it. And it has, what's perfect about it is it's like a wood resin. I don't think, it's more like a resin, but it has little holes here and here where I could hang it outside on the fence with screws and hang it from the plastic like I mentioned before. Now on the back it does have this that would work too, where this is resin instead of in the cardboard. But for $8.99, I do think that is a cute mirror and would look nice on the mirror. And look how it's got that beveled edge. Can you see that? So I think we'll be getting that. Loving that. I like the detail. I thought it was really cool. And it works really nice there in between the Tatur, the Eden Rose. Over here in the corner is that Meant to Be Raspberry Agastache from Proven Winners. Very pretty. The bees love it. Now I have found it doesn't make a very good cut flower though. When I tried to cut it and take it in, it sheds a lot. So I'm just leaving it out on the on the bush to enjoy and leaving it in the garden. And really pretty there on the corner though. So as we continue, the phlox, the Luminary Proven Winners is still blooming. It's been going strong for 3 or 4 weeks now. Lillian Austin is blooming, which is a David Austin rose. That's Firelight Tidbit. It only gets a couple feet tall and wide. I have another one down. So this was blooming when I got it at the garden center. Normally, we're going to backtrack a little bit, it wouldn't be blooming yet. Here is another one, and as you can see, it has the florets on it, but it hasn't started blooming. Oh, and look at my sweet peas. I'm thrilled with my sweet peas, you guys. I have never been able to grow these. This is the first time that they've survived. I've tried them before, direct sowing, and they didn't make it. Then this year I tried doing the seeds, starting them inside over winter, and they made it. And look how pretty they are. And they smell very nice. So I like having the sweet peas there. Now I had some real pretty lilies. Those are the white Casablanca lilies. We had a rainstorm 2 nights ago and it pretty much wiped them out. They smelt wonderful. And I think I'll probably put more out in the cut flower garden for next year because I really like them, but they're pretty short-lived. So having them in the back garden, I don't know that I would add more. We have a white one, we have a pale pink one, and then a dark pink one. So that is Desdemona, I think is how it's pronounced. And then we have Olivia Austin here with the pink. And then down here we have Boscobel. And Boscobel starts out with that dark shell pink. And then it goes to this pretty mid-pink color. So those are blooming again. The urns are looking wonderful. And so is the basket. The little limelight is starting to bloom. That's a panicle. And this is white diamonds, and that's a panicle hydrangea. Look at those florets. Isn't that pretty? And then this is Champagne Wishes. It's an Easy Elegance rose. I picked it up at Lowe's. This is a little quick fire panicle hydrangea. Now I am liking this also because the florets are different than a normal panicle hydrangea. It has more of those individual little flowers on it. So I think that's a real pretty hydrangea also. The Pretty in Pink Eden Rose is blooming again right here on top, and then it's getting a lot more buds on her. She's a climber. The boxwood circle is looking really nice. The boxwoods are doing really good this summer. I did give them a couple different applications of fertilizer pellets, and that seems to be helping them. And the containers with the supertunias are doing fabulous. We've got some there, and then on the garden house, window boxes and other containers, and we'll go take a closer look at those. Now over here we've got some salvia and some knockout roses. The Bobos hydrangeas are just starting to bloom. So that's what the Bobos look like. Okay, so I did get the hydrangea planted. This is Paris, and it is a big leaf hydrangea from Proven Winners. So we'll have to see how that does, but it has a really pretty blooms on it right now. And then we have this urn that's looking really nice with the supertunias, superbena in it. And then the containers are doing really well. And the roses here are again on their second flush. So that's Sensuous right there, the big one in the middle. That was from Home Depot. That was a My Bouquet rose. And then we have Scepter d'Isle, which is a David Austin rose next to it. And then Limelight hydrangeas in the background. So I think those are, they play well together with that lavender, salvia, lamb's ear all mixed in. Then we have two Generous Gardener roses on the trellis, on the arbor, climbing up each side. And it is its second year, so it is doing really well. So let's head up front and check out the front garden. Okay, so I wanted to give you a up-to-date up front mid-July, how everything's doing. So we have a little lime here that's doing really well, and that's a panicle. It's got blooms all over it. I have a red knockout rose that is right now getting buds on it, but it's in between. And then we've got a little quick fire here, and it's looking really pretty also. Now when we go over to the urns, we have 2 urns, and they have the cherry red supertunias, the white mini vistas in them. I have some orange violas that I had in spring and then just left those. Then we've got that dark potato vine that looks really pretty. And I do still have some pansies from spring right over here tucked in that are still blooming. So I did like that orange in there and decided to play with those colors since they do go with the brick on the front of the house pretty well, all those colors. And so we've got 2, and both of them are doing really well. We have a new tree. So this spring, we planted a new tree up front, and this is a crabapple, and it's a white crabapple. It's I don't remember the actual name of the variety, snow something I think, but it's the type of crab apple that will not have crab apples on it. It just flowers in the spring and then will not have fruit, and that's what I was looking for. And it gets about 20 foot tall, so I think that'll be a really pretty accent to our front yard. So then as we spin around to the mailbox garden area, so I did a lot of bedding plants I put in, and a lot of the stuff I started from seed I added in this year. So it's different than what it looked like last year. I did do some yellows and some oranges to tie in with the front of the house. And then a lot of seed geraniums that I grew from seed, which was a fun experiment. I'll do that again probably next year. And then we have some zinnias, some compact zinnias over on this side. More salvia, that cleome. I grew the cleome from seed. It's looking really nice. I did add in some grass here, which I think I'll like with fall arrangements. So it's looking really well from this side too. You can see a lot of geraniums, a lot of salvia, Dusty Miller. But I'm really liking all the color up here. So John's putting up the handles that I picked up at Hobby Lobby for the new fence. And so I got one for the inside on this fence, and this gate is more not going to be used. It's more for like when we have things that have to have maintenance and we have to have workers come through the backyard, like maybe for the generator or that type of thing. So we don't want a handle on the outside because this is the side of the yard that faces the road. But I did want a handle on the inside just in case I do use it. It makes it easier to get in and out. And I just thought these handles were really pretty. I'm gonna get in closer here. It's got a little lion head on it. So just really nice, and they're pretty heavy and really reasonable when Hobby Lobby runs their 50% off. I think I paid $5 for it. So let's go to the other side, and I got a new one for the little gate too. So now on the little gate, I opted for a different style. It's in the same color pattern like I showed you, and it was even cheaper yet. I think it was only like $4 with the 50% off. So if you're looking for some unique hardware, you might want to check out Hobby Lobby. Well, thanks for hanging out with me on the July back garden tour, stopping by my mom's garden, seeing how the front looks up front and some of the upcoming projects. So have a great week, guys. I will see you in the next video. And if you are looking for more garden inspiration, check out these videos next.